the whole family's here except for Alana, who's playing volleyball. And you know, Brooklyn's next to me, and she's been to a bunch of events. I brought her in the middle of the ring at Barclays Center. It was on her birthday. Her name's Brooklyn. We're in Brooklyn, and I had the whole place sing her happy birthday. And
Oh.
someone had said, "Oh, go get the mic and do closing the show," right? And I'm like, not closing the show, but once we went
Yep,
dark,
yep.
and I like chickened out. Well, because I was worried that it wouldn't go well, or she would get. And God, Matt Riddle, Matt Riddle's Matt Riddle, but Matt Riddle was like, "Nah, dude, you
Do it.
gotta go." Yeah, and I wouldn't have if he wouldn't. I was like, "Yeah, fuck, you're right. Like, how could I miss this opportunity?" But like, brought her in the ring. Everyone in the whole place was just amazing and sang at the top of their lungs, and she was just. And now it's like, she's 8. She's gonna be 9 in November, so she's getting to the point where she knows they're not really her fans. But for years, it was like,
Oh,
I
they
have
love
fans
me.
too. Yeah, yeah.
I'm over in Brooklyn.
But where I was going is like she's been to a lot of cool places and seen me do some cool stuff, but she's never seen me in like like something like we did today. Still got it on.
Right?
The
Oh,
the the,
sorry, I didn't notice that.
That's okay. Oh my God. I had it on at the press conference earlier too. Like, do
Do you
you?
want
I
to
was
take
like,
this off?
ah.
Yeah.
But she was with me, and like she'd pull up a chair, and then like she'd just kind of lean her head on my shoulder,
Oh,
and like that's my dad. And I can't tell you how many fans came up, and they're just, God, really like makes you go, wow, like this is crazy. But like all these people are like, you're the GOAT, you're the best, you're the this, you're the that, in their eyes, right?
right?
And then she's right there. They know who she is. And they're like, hey, just so you know, your dad's like the coolest guy ever. Or you're just, 100 different versions of that. And like, man, like I'm her dad.
Right.
She knows I got a weird job. And my dad wrestled, so I kind of understand that
Sure.
it's like not like, it's like, okay.
Just what he does.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's
totally.
my dad.
But like having all these strangers wait in a line to see me, and like it really just, and like, I explained earlier how like I was having hard times and stuff. So I didn't think, you know, necessarily fondly of myself, but just to know that my daughter is sitting there just beaming and being as close to me. She's very physical,
Yeah.
sorry. Um, so am I. And just to know that she was hearing all of that and feeling it, and like her body language would change, and she wanted him to know, like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, that's my
yeah,
dad. Yeah.
God, yeah, 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 God, yeah. I know sometimes, like, the travel, you don't get enough sleep, and like when I was going through it with where I wasn't sleeping real well, like you get irritable and
Sure.
you get a little, you know,
Short-tempered.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. God. And I've done so much better with that, but I slip, but like, I don't want my kids to ever see me blow up on somebody that doesn't deserve it.
Mhm.
And dad, if you end up watching this, which you probably won't, because you don't even have Netflix, because the remote's a little tough. And dad, I'll put the Netflix in. No, that's okay. I got my shows on the DVR. So, so as a child, I remember seeing my father get upset, you know, at people that he, shouldn't have been upset with. And I don't know what the underlying issue was or why he was irritable. And the schedule he kept, like, holy smokes. But like, I saw that, and I don't want to say a lot, but like, I remember it. It's a memory,
Yeah.
like it happened
Do you think
enough.
you emulated him?
I
Like, do you think kids model behavior and don't necessarily intend to, you know?
yeah, but like, I would never use that as an excuse. You know, yes,
But you remember how you
in my
felt.
case, I don't think that's why
Okay.
I might have been mean to people. that didn't deserve it. I think that I was just, probably just the biggest insecure dude in the building, and that's how I coped.
And then when you're tired, like,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Like it's, but like, but then you think about like, you know, some of the things human beings do, like firemen, police officers, and
Mm.
soldiers, and like, yeah, no, I can't say, oh, I'm tired, so I'm going to be an asshole to you, and
right.
you're just here serving me food, but you
But I
got
didn't
the
like the way
order
you put my
wrong.
plate down.
Yeah, right. I don't think I was that bad,
You just shoved my
but
food at me like that?
yeah. But like, I mean, there's some story every once in a while, one of the boys, and then like, like Edge when he came back, like he a couple times, and I just feel myself like, oh, but they'll be like, remember that time? And I'm like, not
Oh.
until you
No.
just reminded me.
Thank
I tried
you.
to forget.
Thank you
And
for
they're
reminding me how far I've come.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
I
good.
appreciate it is
Yeah.
good. That
But
is
it
good.
is also true.
No, I know. But like, man, like just and then when I say like I'm lucky to still like be here and be doing this and just be in the position I'm in life, like I really feel that way because I shouldn't be here because of, dumb decisions I made, you know?
Can I ask you a big question?
Sure.
Do you think you will ever really be able to love yourself? Because you're not a bad guy, you're not. But that's where it's got to start,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
and
know.
that's I found that to be one of my hardest lessons was learning to love myself. And
Yeah.
I think you struggle with it as a human
Yeah.
being all the
Well, like I've
time.
heard that many times.
Yeah.
And then when I was talking to somebody like weekly, that was something that like a common thread in the conversation. Um, I mean, I'd like to say yes, but then like, does anybody? I don't
And it's a
know.
good
I
it's
don't
a good
know.
point,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
one thing I do know is negative self-talk doesn't help.
No, no. And then
Beating yourself up,
yeah, no, I would,
you think you're like gonna, at least in my case, I always felt like I was gonna correct the mistake if I learned the lesson as hard as I
sure,
possibly could, whatever
sure,
I did
sure.
wrong, which of course I've done a lot of things wrong and I've hurt people's feelings along the way and I'm human too, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you never know what someone's going through, right?
Right.
Why they might
That is
act.
so true. That is
Yeah.
so true.
And everybody's usually going through something of their own.
100%.